Right now on the National Weather Desk, the heat dome that broke records out west is now sizzling the plains, and it could make a record low snowpack even worse.
And when the snow from winter melts too quickly, then grasses and brush dry out sooner.
Hawaii residents clean up following the island's worst floods in more than 20 years.
Water level was very high, about up to my waist.
Just how common are East Coast earthquakes?
There are usually minor earthquakes, but a few of them have been strong over the years.
The test now underway that could help feed future astronauts.
The goal is to create a reliable system that can eventually work in orbit.
And the American city that ranks as the absolute worst for people with pollen allergy.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans. More temperature records are expected to fall today as the heat dome that baked the West Coast is now moving east. The high pressure is now parked over the nation's midsection. It will bring upper 80s to mid 90s from the Rockies across the plains to the lower Mississippi Valley. Even South Dakota will see their 80s as well. The heat continues that eastward march tomorrow, bringing summer-like temperatures across the Midwest. But it will be followed by a cold front that could trigger severe weather from Illinois to Ohio tomorrow night and afternoon and evening. The West is still seeing the impacts from that extreme heat, and officials in California warning the hot and dry conditions are causing the snowpack to melt faster than expected, and this could lead to an earlier wildfire season. Madison Wilbur has that story.
Fire. Something Californians see often. Water. Something California always needs more of. As temperatures hit record highs in the valley for March, winter snow is already beginning to disappear, and the water that comes from it will be gone by summer. CAL FIRE took to social media on Tuesday to say less snow equals earlier drying, and when the snow from winter melts too quickly, then grasses and brush dry out sooner. We spoke to the CAL FIRE Fresno Kings unit to ask about the dangers of the upcoming heat.
We're training for fire season right now.
One of their methods to get ahead is to fight fire with fire.
We want it all to burn down completely, so then that way we have a legit fuel break.
And by fuel break, he means burning anything that could fuel a fire, like tall grass or bushes, to create an area where a fire cannot spread.
The safest place to be is somewhere that it's already burned, as long as it burned clean. So if we're able to create that before anything happens, then we're even better.
Weather could play a role in the Iranian war over the next few days. A rare and significant storm is moving into the region. It could bring flooding, dust storms, and even a few brief tornadoes or waterspouts. The biggest impacts will be tomorrow and Friday in parts of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the UAE, and Iran. Some cities like Dubai could see a year's worth of rain in just 3 days. Cleanup continues in Hawaii, where back-to-back storms caused catastrophic flooding. Fortunately, no one was killed or injured, but damage could approach $1 billion. Our station in Salt Lake City spoke with a Utah man who survived the floods.
When floodwaters rushed through his neighborhood on Oahu, Tutahau Hunkin was asleep.
Well, my cousin woke me up around 1:30 in the morning, and he started yelling, saying, "It's starting to flood."
Have you ever experienced or seen anything like this while living there?
I have not. I actually talked to my cousin that actually has lived here for his whole life, and he said that this storm or this flood, he hasn't seen anything like this in about 20 years.
When the flooding started, Tutahau and his family rushed to clear belongings on the lower level. They've since had to rip out flooring from the damage. Outside, he says cars were floating down the street.
I saw that the water level was very high, about up to my waist on our streets as well.
But even as cleanup continues, he says more rain is on the way, and the island community is bracing for it.
I would say nerves are really high, but also faith and hope is really high as well.
Parts of western North Carolina were rattled by a small earthquake Monday night. There wasn't any damage, but it raises the question over how often quakes happen in the eastern United States. Meteorologist Karen Wynn takes a look.
Now, it happened about 45 miles to the southwest of Asheville, and then we zoom in closer on the location. You can see about 7 miles to the west of Cullowhee, 10 miles to the southeast of Bryson City, and 7 miles to the northeast of Franklin. Now, after the main earthquake, a few hours later, around 11:15, there was an aftershock of a 1.7. This one was deeper, over half a mile deep. Now, in the greater scheme of things with earthquake intensity, this was a minor earthquake, almost a 3, not quite. And let's go ahead and look at what a Category 3 is. Minor, often felt but no damage. There are about 100,000 of these per year. Strongest earthquake on record happened in Chile in 1960 with a 9.1 magnitude. So this is minor, like a lot of the earthquakes along the East Tennessee seismic zone, extending all the way from Roanoke back down to Birmingham. There are usually minor earthquakes, but a few of them have been strong over the years. And here's a look at some of the stronger quakes. Charleston, South Carolina, outside that seismic zone, but did have one of a magnitude over a 7. And we even see Asheville had a magnitude 5.5, and Sparta back in 2020 was a 5.1.
There's been progress in battling the 24 fire, which is burning near Colorado Springs. Some evacuees are returning home after sheltering animals at a county fairground. Now it's time to clean up all of the smoke damage. Michael Lagerwell reports.
We had almost 120 animals. Chickens, ducks, goats, cows, pigs, horses. So we had a little bit of everything here.
But before the sun went down on Monday, most of the animals were gone. And those who called the county fair site home for the weekend had gone home with them.
Now the work is really going to begin.
And Amanda Sudduth would know. She lived through the Black Forest fire in 2013, and her house survived the flames, but not the smoke.
Especially for those homes that were evacuated, there's a lot to do with the air quality. There's a lot to do with items in the home that are no longer safe because if they've had a lot of smoke come into the home, that creates problems.
Medicine, toothbrushes, and any not canned food. Sudduth said those items and more can be smoke damage and can create big problems for even those with a strong respiratory system.
We're praying that our neighbors have insurance.
Even though the fire is being put out, the pain could just be starting.
We've been in the news with you guys for plenty of other things out in Penrose. We have a big mop up, but we don't have a tragedy. We didn't lose lives, we didn't lose neighbors, and we thank God for that.
Last week, portions of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region saw a pretty significant blizzard. It was the second largest snowstorm on record for Green Bay, Wisconsin, the first being all the way back in 1888. Meteorologist Phil DeCastro explains why the region often sees late season winter storms.
Talking about the basics first, for any type of precipitation to happen, you need moisture. But in the dead of winter, it's very cold, and that limits how much moisture storms can turn into snow. And you also need a source of moisture, which is not always available in the winter like in spring. And in the transition from winter to spring, we also have better setups for more dynamic and stronger storms. So here's how all of that looks. In the dead of winter, we tend to just see these Alberta Clipper systems that swing across the upper Midwest. They're trying to carry moisture all the way in from the Pacific, but by the time they get here, many of them are very dry. We'll usually only get a few inches of snow from these quick hitting systems. But in March and April, a couple things start to happen. We see this mid-latitude jet start to retreat north. Now the bitter cold Arctic air is still pretty close by to the north, if not still in place at times, but warmer and more humid air starts becoming more prevalent and easier to access off to the south. And not only does that mean more moisture for these storms to turn into snow, the bigger temperature difference between these two air masses leads to those more intense and dynamic storms that turn all that moisture into snow. And when it comes together just right, these ingredients can make for some historic snowfalls.
And the National Hurricane Center is making last year's experimental cone of uncertainty. They're making that permanent for the upcoming hurricane season. The new cone includes tropical storm and hurricane watches and warnings for inland areas. The Hurricane Center says the change helps inland communities better understand and prepare for the storm's powerful winds. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, it's severe weather season, and that means more tornadoes will help you better understand how their strength is measured. And we'll hear from the researchers working on growing food in space.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. Expect a fair amount of sunshine in the Northeast for our Wednesday. Most towns will top out in the 40s and 50s. It will be warmer on Thursday, but we'll get a round of rain moving in, particularly at night and into the morning. So tonight and into Thursday morning. Here we are 2 o'clock in the afternoon today. Expect increasing clouds first in New York and eventually getting into New England and New Jersey and New York. Here comes some of that rain tonight and into tomorrow morning. We'll get some mountain snow, and then it gets warm Thursday afternoon.
I'm meteorologist Justin Chambers taking a look at our forecast across the mid-Atlantic, starting off with some clouds on Wednesday morning. By the afternoon, a little bit more cloud cover, but at least we'll see milder temperatures. Looking ahead to Thursday for opening day for the O's, we'll see the potential of a few showers south and west of Baltimore, but for the most part, staying dry for the game. More of that rain rolls in Thursday night into Friday. Those temperatures are going to be on the upper swing of things, upper 50s and lower 60s on Wednesday, even warmer Thursday.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. Mild conditions for most of the southeast, a little cool across the Carolinas heading through Wednesday afternoon with temperatures in the 60s, upper 70s, low 80s for most of the northern Gulf Coast with the low to mid 80s across central and South Florida. Additional cloud cover will linger for the day for southern Georgia, Alabama, and North Florida. Then the chance for a few inland downpours across the central Florida area. Then mostly sunny conditions into Thursday with temperatures remaining in the 70s.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Cold air above and below this bridge caused melting snow to easily refreeze, forming large icicles under the Blue Ridge Parkway. This sun pillar appeared in northern Michigan. Your best chance to see one is typically just before sunset or after sunrise. Red dawn often means bad weather's on the way, but it's pretty nice today in central Alabama. And another bird feeder thief is caught on camera. This time, it's a deer in eastern Tennessee.
All right, it's severe weather season. That means it's also tornado season, and it's just getting started. But do you know how tornadoes are rated and measured? Meteorologist Joy Bettenhausen posted about it on Instagram. Take a look at this.
We're starting to see a lot more tornadic activity this time of year. Have you ever wondered how a tornado gets its rating? And did you also know the National Weather Service Office is the only organization that can give a tornado a rating? Let's talk more about it. This snapshot is courtesy of the National Weather Service office in Tulsa, and it actually looks at the Barnsdall, Oklahoma tornado rated EF4 from May of 2024. It caused a lot of damage, so it makes sense why it's got the EF4 rating. But to get a rating, the National Weather Service office looks at 3-second wind gusts, and those are usually an estimate, as well as the type of damage. Now, there's damage indicators and professionals that actually go out to look at the structure of each building, and they compare it to the list of those damage indicators. So for an EF1, estimate gusts 86 to 110 miles per hour, could see windows broken, mobile homes overturned. But for an EF4, gusts around 166 to 200 miles per hour, cars thrown a significant distance, and homes leveled.
And during severe weather season, you'll see lots of clouds. Now, some like the one behind me, they kind of resemble stacks of plates or pancakes, or even looks like an extraterrestrial mothership. They're called lenticular clouds, and meteorologist Mitchell Coombs explains the science behind them.
What are we actually seeing here? These are known as standing lenticularis clouds, or simply known as lenticular clouds. They can be found at low, medium, and high cloud levels. The most striking and dramatic ones we tend to see are the mid-level altocumulus lenticular clouds. Winds below most clouds across the sky, but lenticular clouds seem to stay in one place. Why is this? These stationary clouds typically form in parallel alignment to the wind direction and perpendicular to the mountain or mountain chain. As air moves up and over the mountaintop, it will cool down to the dew point temperature and condense into a cloud. The altitude where this occurs is known as the lifting condensation level. The lenticular cloud will often develop just past the mountaintop. Stable air and/or wind shear above the mountaintop can give the cloud a sharp top edge. After the air passes the mountain ridge, it sinks and warms. The warming cloud evaporates on the downwind side. This evaporation process is similar to what we see from cloud waterfalls like this one in the Missoula Valley. The mountains disrupt the flow of the air into turbulent eddies. When stable air flows over a larger eddy, such as those created by the mountains, a series of large-scale standing waves form on the leeward side of the mountain. If the temperature at the crest of the wave drops below the dew point temperature, moisture in the air may condense to form lenticular clouds. Under certain conditions, long strings of lenticular clouds may form near the crest of each successive standing wave, creating a formation known as a wave cloud. Lenticular clouds form most often in the winter and spring, but it is not uncommon to see them at other times of the year. Pilots of powered aircraft tend to avoid flying near lenticular clouds because of the severe turbulence and sinking air at the trailing edge of the cloud. Glider pilots, on the other hand, actively seek them out in order to climb in the upward moving air at the leading edge.
And the first full week of spring is underway, and in addition to severe weather, that means blooming flowers and warmer weather are in front of us. So our allergies, as Aiden Greco tells us, one Idaho city is already feeling the itch.
Boise is the #1 most challenging city for allergies. That's according to the Asthma and Allergy Association of America. They use over-the-counter medicine use, pollen counts, and the number of available allergy specialists to formulate a ranking every year. Now, pollen may be annoying to us, but it's really important for plants. It's how they reproduce, and parts of our ecosystem, like bees for example, they need pollen. When it comes to your allergies, tree pollen is generally the main culprit early in the spring, but grass and weeds also do play a role, especially in summer and fall months. Experts say climate change is leading to longer and more intense allergy seasons, but they also say allergy treatments and remedies have become more effective over the past decade.
Growing food in space, that's what a mechanical engineering design team at a Florida university is trying to figure out. They're working on a sealed greenhouse environment to figure out how their research can support future space missions, and they're testing it out soon. Bowen West has more.
Garden City Fungi's Exhale mycelium bags and Florida Atlantic University are preparing another high-altitude balloon flight to test whether a small, self-contained growing system can help support future space missions.
This will be our third time to go into space with Florida Atlantic University and the senior design team of the Mechanical Engineering School. We've been working on this project for a number of years, since I do believe 2023.
The project centers on an environmental control system, small autonomous greenhouse designed to regulate temperature, pressure, water, and air conditions, while students track how plants and mycelium respond high above Earth. At FAU, students have been building on what they learned from each previous launch.
The second year, we came at it with a new angle of really focusing on maintaining that pressure. And once we figured out how to do that, the year after that, we focused on the next hardest thing, which is water delivery, which is what we've been focusing on this year pretty heavily.
Roof says the latest version includes a custom water delivery system, while Babcock says Exhale is also testing a new breathable membrane. The goal is to create a reliable system that can eventually work in orbit, and the mycelium plays a key role. In a closed chamber, plants can use up available carbon dioxide. The mycelium helps balance that environment by producing CO2 through cellular respiration.
So when we're making these environmental control systems with just plants in, one of the biggest issues is the fact the plant will scrub out all the CO2 from the air and produce oxygen until a point where it has no CO2 left and it's suffocating. So this mycelium does the exact opposite.
The high-altitude balloon tests can reach more than 100,000 feet, giving researchers a chance to study extreme cold, low pressure, and high radiation levels. For the team, it's not just about this weekend launch. It's about what these tests could lead to years from now.
During those unmanned periods of time, food will be grown in an environmental control system that's housed on Gateway that will be orbiting the moon, but no one will be there. but plants will be growing, and the exhale mycelium will be providing the carbon dioxide that's needed for life.
This third launch marks another step toward growing food for future missions to the moon, Mars, and beyond.
And for all the latest weather news and video, be sure to check us out on social media. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. And time now for a short break, but first we take you to the fields of lavender in Europe.
Well, a very good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Sandra Buck-Michael. Getting very warm and toasty across the Midwest for the day today, especially across the southern plains. We got some thunderstorms going to be firing up across the lower Great Lakes and Ohio Valley for Thursday into Thursday night. And as we head towards Friday, that'll be exiting the south and getting cooler as well as we head into the start of the weekend.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're waking up a little bit on the warm side this morning. A little warmer than usual, 70s, 60s, even 50s. All the way back up at Amarillo. Dry line moves in, warm front moves away, clouds start to kind of slide in and around the region, and it looks like it's going to be another warmer than normal day. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Good Wednesday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stella Sun. A passing storm system to our neighbors in Canada will kick up those winds in parts of Montana and in parts of North Dakota. Wildfire danger will increase through parts of the Rockies, with daytime highs climbing to 91 degrees in Denver and in Albuquerque. Triple-digit temperatures expected in the Valley of the Sun, with 50 degrees expected through Missoula and in the mid-50s in Spokane.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Lightning kills several people in the United States each year, and it causes fires, too. Cedar Rapids meteorologist David Holtman spoke to an expert about lightning safety inside and outside.
The things that are really at risk are the structure itself, the combustible portions of the structure. So you have the roof, the eaves, the shingles, but also the utilities and the appliances in the home. You get a large surge of energy through the electrical system, and you can end up with a failed electrical box.
While you may not be able to stop lightning from striking your house, there are a few steps you can take to prevent it from catching on fire.
There's lightning protection systems for your house. It amounts to a lightning rod on the roof of your house that takes that lightning strike and conducts it to the ground. Also, surge protectors for your appliances within your house.
But it's not only the home you need to protect, it's important to keep yourself safe.
During storm events, if at all possible, stay inside. Being out in the wide open is not a good idea. Protect yourself. The safest thing to do is be inside the house.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.